Imagine a place where fairness is bought by the highest bidder, a place where decisions that affect millions are made not on truth, but on secret money deals. This is what happens when bribery takes over. Ayah, tired already lah, I don't want to present.
I give you money, you present. $50.
Okay lah. But 50 so less, I want more. Okay lah, I present. In Malaysia, bribery is a growing problem. It affects our politics, businesses, law enforcement, and even our everyday lives. It weakens our trust in institutions and lets corruption grow. Today, we are talking about the surge in bribery cases in Malaysia. I'm Sharini Anbalagan, and I'm joined by Ivana Brito, Lee Jai, Siu Wei Wen, and Yan Yu En. Together, we will explain what is bribery, share real example, look at its cause, point out where our system fails, and discuss ways to fight it. Now, let's break down on what we have learned about bribery and why this issue matters to us. First, bribery is more than just about the money. It's a misuse of power that distorts justice and accountability. When bribery happens, decisions aren't made on what is right, but on who can pay the most.
Didn't you just ask me to pay you more?
Shh, it's between us, okay? Second, bribery disrupts market competitive, it drains public funds, and weakens our democratic system. When bribes influence decisions, it harms everyone from businesses to government operations. Third, bribery hinders socio-economic development, it discourages foreign investment, slows down innovation, and limits overall economic growth. This isn't just a short-term problem, it can stunt a country's progress for years in the future. Now, why is this topic of interest to us? Bribery is a real-world issue that directly impacts our daily life. It damages economic growth, opportunities, stifles community growth, and weakens our trust in government organizations. By learning about bribery, we become more responsible citizens. It inspires us to push for a greater accountability, transparency, and a stronger system in our community. With that understanding, let's look at some real-life examples.
Right now, I'll be showing you the media reports regarding the issue of bribery. So, there's one very popular case in Malaysia, which is One Malaysia Development Berhad scandal and Prime Minister Najib Razak's corruption. So, in this case, the Prime Minister Najib Razak will have to defend himself against more abuse of power and money laundering charges in another trial over the multi-billion-dollar scandal at State Fund 1MDB. So, what charge he's facing right now is 4 charges of abuse of power and 21 charges of money laundering for allegedly receiving 2.3 billion ringgit from Malaysia 1MDB. But however, he pleaded not guilty. So, there's also a case called Sabah State Water Department corruption. So this guy over here, you can see him. His name is Awang Tahir Awang Talib. He's the Sabah Water Department director, and in December 29, 2016, him as his wife, Fauzah Piut, and former State Water Department Deputy Director, Lim Nang Beng, they all claimed trials to 37 counts of money laundering involving cash and bank savings of 61.57 million ringgit, as well as unlawful possession of luxury goods. So basically, they accept bribery from different companies so they could receive contracts without even need to go through the procedure. And definitely, he also used a lot of state funds for his personal gain. So what the charges we have is Tahir faced 11 charges, while Fauzia faces 90 charges under Section 4(1)(b) of Anti-Money Laundering, Anti-Terrorism Financing, and Proceeds of Unlawful Activities Act 2001. And Fauzia actually also have other 2 joint charges under Section 4(1)(b) of the same act. So lastly, I'll be sharing a media report of flying container case. So over here, the flying container is actually about the custom officers. They get bribed by different companies so their items could go through tax evasion. They basically don't need to pay the tax for their items to be shipped to another country, and will be illegally labeled as tax-free items. So turns out this case happened for a decade and just recently got discovered. And over here, there's 70 people, and in 70 people, there's 11 custom officers were arrested by MACC, which will be known as a Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, to facilitate its investigation into the flying container case, which include a Singaporean. Surprisingly, there's another foreigner involved, a Singaporean national believed to be the mastermind behind this case, which resulted in 3.5 billion ringgit in tax leakage. So, what did MACC Deputy Chief Commissioner Datuk Seri Ahmad Kushari Yahaya, so this guy over here, he confirmed the arrest and said the case is being investigated under the section of 17B, section 16A of MACC Act 2009, Anti-Money Laundering, Anti-Terrorism Financing and Proceeds of Unlawful Activities Act 2001.
Next, we'll be discussing 4 key factors that can contribute to bribery. The first one is weak law enforcement. Although there are many anti-corruption laws that exist, the enforcement is very weak. One good example would be the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission. While they can investigate bribery cases, they cannot and don't have the power to convict someone to court. Instead, the Attorney General Chamber has the power to do so and make the decision on whether a person should be brought to court or a case should be moved forward. However, even with evidence, the AGC may not decide to prosecute it, and if so, this will make it difficult to overcome corruption in Malaysia and cause many delays, weakening the people's trust in the legal system. Moving on, we have cultural normalization. In some cases, bribery can be seen as a normal thing or a social norm in society. For example, some Malaysians believe that small bribes to help speed up the government services are allowed and are not a serious problem. Terms like duit kopi and a direct translation would be coffee money makes bribery seem acceptable or harmless. Because of this, people tend to ignore and accept bribery cases because they aren't such a big deal. Moving on, we have financial pressure. There are many public services that provide a low income or salaries for workers. Although they work hard day and night, they don't earn enough money. Therefore, this results in many of them struggling to sustain a good lifestyle because they don't have enough money, especially with the high living costs in Malaysia. In result, they will feel desperate and think that bribery is the only way they can earn extra money. A good example would be a traffic or police officer who is going through financial issues. They may choose to accept bribery instead of issuing fines because it is their only way of earning money. Lastly, we have greed and lack of ethical standards. Some people accept bribery simply because they can and have the power to do so. To illustrate, officials or higher authorities have very high power. Therefore, they may take advantage of their position and accept briberies for their own benefit and personal gains. Not only that, many workplaces lack ethical training. They don't prioritize the importance of integrity. Therefore, people believe that since there are no severe consequences, as long as they don't get caught, their actions are acceptable.
Even though Malaysia has laws to prevent bribery cases, it still has its weaknesses and flaws. For example, legal loopholes that can be witnessed in the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission Act of 2009, aka the MACC Act. The Act actually does not clearly clarify what is the meaning of gratification, which makes it very easy to manipulate this vague description in court. This also makes it very difficult to enforce bribery laws in a very consistent manner. Secondly, is inadequate whistleblower protection. Whistleblower means a person who informs on a person or organization regarded as engaging in an unlawful or immoral act. So if you witness an immoral or illegal act and you report them, then you are a whistleblower. For example, Jia Yi witnessed me early on in the video bribing Sharini to present these slides, but she didn't report me to the police nor anyone in that matter. Now why is that, Jia Yi?
I scared to hire a killer just to kill me.
See, many people have a fear of retaliation. Many people fear to report these cases of bribery due to inadequate and inconsistent protection from the law from retaliation of the person that you reported or the accused. Then there's political interferences. So there's actually a lot of political interferences in high-profile cases, such as the Najib 1MDB case. There have been high-profile bribery cases that have received political interference to gain the ideal outcomes. Therefore, the law bends to their will. This undermines and discredits the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, aka the MACC, which creates doubt. Lastly is resource management. A lack of essential resources, for example through the MACC, they may be unable to maintain a level of efficiency and quality due to their poor resource management. This can result in them being unable to attend to bribery cases with a higher efficiency level, and they also may attend to these cases at a slower pace, which helps the surge of bribery to continue. Yeah.
Next, moving on to the improvement that can be done by the authorities. The first one is the anti-bribery policies of Malaysia should be updated. The authority involved here is Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, MACC. MACC should regularly review and update the anti-bribery policies and laws to keep up with the evolving corruption strategy. This includes improving the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission of Act 2009 to fill in the loopholes and strengthen the law enforcement. By making anti-bribery laws more effective, they should also strengthen the corporate responsibility regulations, improve the transparency of public procurement, and ensure the strict compliance with ISO 37001, which is an international anti-bribery management system that helps organizations to manage and prevent the bribery. The second improvement is enforcing the transparency in business ownership. In this area, Companies Commission of Malaysia (SSM) should take place. SSM should strengthen corporate transparency by implementing stricter regulations. These regulations are including but not limited to require all registered enterprises to disclose their beneficiaries and also prevent shell companies from participating in government tenders. Besides that, SSM should also implement real-time monitoring of financial statements to detect unusual transactions that related to bribery. Furthermore, MACC should also increase the punishment for bribery because more severe punishment can act as a deterrent to corruption. To implement this method, MACC should increase both imprisonment and fines for individuals and companies involved in bribery. So we can see from this bribery act in Malaysia, the punishment is imprisonment for a term not exceeding 20 years and or a fine of not less than 10 times of the sum or 1 million ringgit. So they can add more punishment on this basis. Other than that, MACC should prohibit corrupt individuals and companies from participating in government projects and introduce the asset confiscation law to recover illegal income from bribes. And the last one is Securities Commission Malaysia should organize anti-bribery training campaigns because raising awareness is always the key to prevent the bribery. They should target public officials for ensuring they understand the laws and ethical obligations, and also private sector employees by equipping them with tools to identify and resist bribery. And the last is the general public. They should educate them on how to report bribery effectively. So we can see this QR code. So the general public can scan this QR code when they are experiencing bribery to report the bribery on the MACC website.
Okay, so throughout our presentation, we've seen that bribery affects justice and equality. It undermines public confidence and harms our economy. But it's not just about the large institution, it also impacts our community and daily lives. If we want a better future, we must insist a greater accountability and openness from those in powers. So let's stand together and say no to bribery to protect Malaysia's future. Remember, integrity is priceless. Don't trade it for money. Thank you.